I'll share my screen. Right. So, hello everyone. Um, so I welcome you to our online class today for the Unit 5, and we are going to focus on research in health and social care. And we are going to discuss about the learning outcome 3. And I'll uh, briefly discuss about overall aspects of learning outcome 3 with you first, then we'll go for the other side. And in the meanwhile, if you have any question, then please ask, and I'll try my best to answer those questions. So uh, in learning outcome 3 for unit 5, what we need to do is be able to complete a research project in health and social care. So completing a research project is a significant milestone, and it's an incredibly rewarding process that's allow anyone to contribute valuable insight to the field of health and social care. So there are some key steps and consideration which we need to keep in mind to successfully complete a project. So first step is identifying a research topic. The first step in any research project is to identify a topic that is both intriguing and feasible. And for example, uh, you might be interested in exploring the effectiveness of telehealth services in improving patient outcome during the COVID-19 pandemic. So this topic is both timely and relevant, and there is plenty of data available to support the research. So example is like this. How has the increased use of telehealth during the COVID-19 pandemic impacted patient satisfaction and health outcomes? So this could be the topic. Then there would be a step 2, and the step 2 would be conducting a literature review. So once you have your topic, the next step is to conduct a thorough literature review. This involves reading and summarizing relevant studies, articles, and reports related to your topic. Always the goal is to understand what is already known and to identify gaps in the existing research that your project can address. So uh, as we have given example of telehealth, so in our telehealth example, um, we could look for studies that discuss various aspects of telehealth, its adoption during the pandemic, then patient satisfaction and outcomes, and we might find research that shows telehealth has well received for its convenience, but lacks sufficient data on long-term health outcomes. Then we have step 3. In step 3, we what we do is developing a research question and hypothesis. So based on your literature review, you need to develop a clear research question and hypothesis, and the research question should be specific and focused, guiding the direction of the study. So again, we'll use the example which we have given earlier. So research question in that scenario would be, uh, does the use of telehealth services during the COVID-19 pandemic improve patient health outcome compared to traditional in-person visit? So the hypothesis would be patient using telehealth services during the COVID-19 pandemic will report higher levels of satisfaction and improve health outcomes compared to those attending in-person visits. So we have that research question and the hypothesis. Then the step 4 would be designing the research methodology. So you need to design the methodology you will use to answer uh, your research question, and this will involve choosing between qualitative, quantitative, or mixed approaches, deciding on sampling method, and determining how you will collect and analyze the data. Example is you might decide to use a mixed method approach that combines surveys to quantify patient satisfaction and health outcomes with in-depth interviews for qualitative insight. So you will identify a sample group of patient or service user who have used telehealth and those who have had in-person visit during the pandemic. Remember, we have gone through with the uh, qualitative and quantitative and mixed methods in our previous classes as well. I'll uh, touch upon those in our today's topic as well. So another step would be collecting the data. So data collection is the process of gathering the information we need to answer the research question, and this step should be carried out systematically following the method you have designed to ensure reliability and validity. So in example, we can say that we could distribute surveys online to the sample group and conduct virtual interviews, ensure the confidentiality and ethical treatment of the participant, and we need to adhere to relevant guidelines and obtaining necessary consents. Excuse me. And then we have step 6. In that we do the analyzation of data. So once data is collected, the next step is to analyze it, and this could involve statistical analysis for qualitative data, for quantitative one. When we have numbers, we have quantitative data, uh, and we need to uh, this could involve statistical analysis for quantitative data, and or we could have thematic analysis for qualitative data, and we need to look for patterns and themes that help to answer our research question. An example is like um, you might use statistical software to analyze survey results, looking for differences in satisfaction and health outcomes between telehealth and in-person visit group. For the interview data, we could uh, uh, use the responses to identify common themes regarding a patient experience. Then for the next step, what we need to do is we need to present our finding. So the final step is to present our finding clearly and concisely. And this can be done through a written report, a presentation, or both. And your report should include an introduction, literature review, methodology, results, discussion, and conclusion. And we need to make sure to discuss the implication of our finding and suggest area for further research. So as an example, your report might show that telehealth has led to high patient satisfaction due to convenience, but reveals mixed results regarding health outcomes, and uh, you could uh, propose further research to explore ways to enhance telehealth services and improving long-term health effects. Then there are some practical tips and consideration we need to always keep in mind. So we have ethical consideration, and then we have time management. Then we need documentation. Documentation means keep detailed records of your data collection and the analysis process. And this is only help in writing your report, but also adds credibility to your research. And the last one is critical thinking. So these all are the important aspects related with the research in health and social care and be able to complete a research project in health and social care. So we'll move to the next slide. And in the meanwhile, if any question, then please do ask. Right. Here we have the indicative content. Okay. Right. So we need to discuss about data collection method, types of data. Okay. So first one is the data collection method. So data collection is foundation to your research project, and you might use surveys and questionnaires. These are useful for collective quantitative data from a large group. Then we have interviews, and these are suitable for gathering detailed qualitative insights. So look, there's a difference. Um, we have when we have surveys and questionnaires, so we can use the quantitative data from a large group. When we are doing the interviews, we could use qualitative insights, and then we have observations. And what observation do is allows for the collection of real-time behavior data. Then we have secondary data analysis. Uh, Secondary data analysis is utilizing existing data from past research or databases. Then we have to discuss about the types of data. So again, we discussed it in our previous class, but I'll go through with it again. We have quantitative data and numerical data that can be measured. Example include patient satisfaction score, demographic data, or anything like that, which have some numbers. So that is in the quantitative data. Then the qualitative data, and qualitative data is descriptive data that provides context and deeper understanding. Examples include patient narratives, interviews, and transcripts, etc. Now we have to discuss about the analysis approaches. First, we have statistical analysis, and it applied to quantitative data to identify patterns, correlation, and correlations using softwares like SPSS or R or Excel. Then we have thematic analysis, and it's used for qualitative data to identify themes and patterns within the data. Then we have grounded theory, and grounded theory is an inductive approach to develop theories based on data systematically collected and analyzed. Then we have uh, validity and liability. So we will discuss that more in detail uh, later. So basically validity, um, what it does, it ensures that your research accurately reflects the concept or phenomena you are studying, and it is about the truth of the research finding. Example is ensuring your questionnaire accurately measure patient satisfaction. Reliability refers to the consistency of your research measures. Example is ensuring repeated surveys yield similar results under consistent conditions. Then we have uh, problem statement, literature review. Okay, so in problem statement, we say that it clearly defines the issue your research intends to address. And example is there is a lack of data on long-term effects of telehealth on chronic disease management. Then we have literature review. So example is reviewing studies on telehealth to identify what is known and unknown about its long-term effect on chronic disease management. Then we have conceptual framework. So it provides a structure for your research based on existing theories and model. And example is using the health belief model to understand how patient perceive health telehealth. Then we have uh, the research question. So research question basically focuses on our study. Example is does telehealth improve chronic disease management outcome compared to traditional in-person care? Then what hypothesis do is it states our predictions. Example is the patient using telehealth for chronic disease management will show improved health outcome compared to those using traditional in-person care. Then we have methodology. So methodology describes the procedures and strategies for data collection and analysis. So example is adopting a mixed method approach, combining surveys with interviews. We have um, timeline and budget. So we need to plan the scope, schedule, and financial resources. Example is creating a detailed project timeline and budget proposal to justify finding needs. Then we have um, integration into decision making. So incorporate diverse sources of expertise, values, and evidence. Then we have uh, ethics. So ethics is adhere to ethical principles, which include permission and approvals. Then it's like obtaining necessary permission from institution or ethical boards before starting your research. Then the consent is making sure participants give informed consent, and confidentiality and anonymity is protecting the participant identities and personal information. Then we have quality improvement. So it's used in research to continuously improve healthcare practices. Then we have evidence and guidance. So it's apply the best available evidence to develop or update clinical guidelines. Then we have policy. So uh, like policy influence, health policies based on research finding. And example is advocating for policy changes to support the broader implementation of telehealth services based on your evidence. Then we have comparability. Uh, right. So comparability is we need to ensure that our data and findings can be compared across studies. Then we have currency, and it's keep your research current by including the latest data and trend. Then we have validity uh, and authenticity. So it's maintain the truthfulness and genuine nature of your research finding. Example is triangulating data from multiple sources to enhance validity and ensuring transparency in your research methodology to maintain authenticity. Now we'll move to the next slide. Okay, so next slide is you have to discuss about the key terminologies. So first we have literature review. So a definition of literature review is a literature review is an overview of previously published work on a specific topic, and it serves two main purposes: demonstrating knowledge and understanding of existing academic literature, and critically evaluating this literature to identify gaps, strengths, and weaknesses. Then, um, right. So, um basically, a literature review is not just a simple summary or compilation. It involves understanding the context of the research, interpreting findings, and evaluating their implication. This makes it a critical component of any research project. Then we have knowledge and understanding. So, a literature review shows that you are well versed in academic discussions and research finding related to your topic. For example, if you are researching the effectiveness of telehealth, your literature review might include summaries of studies that assess various aspects such as patient satisfaction, accessibility, and outcomes of telehealth services. Then we have critical evaluation. So it involves assessing the quality of the research you are reviewed, which we have reviewed, and are the methodologies related, and are the conclusion well supported by data. We need to consider what are the limitations of these studies, and this critical approach is what uh, distinguishes a literature review from a more uh, mm, uh, like from a literature report. Example is like in the context of telehealth during the COVID-19 pandemic, a literature review might highlight studies that support increased patient satisfaction due to the convenience of telehealth. Uh, then we could have research indicating potential disparities in access to telehealth based on socioeconomic factors. We could have gaps in literature review where long-term health outcomes of telehealth have yet to be thoroughly investigated. And by synthesizing this information, we can provide a comprehensive view of the existing knowledge and set the stage for research project by identifying areas that require further exploration. Then we have sample data. Okay, so Um, its definition is like in data analysis, sampling is the practice of analyzing a subset of all data to uncover meaningful information that can be generalized to the larger data set. So in detail, we can say that sampling is crucial technique that allows researchers to make uh, inferences uh, about a large population without the need for examining every individual within that population. It involves selecting a representative group from the larger population to conduct your study on. And what are the needs for sampling and why we need sampling is we need to consider the challenges of collecting data on patient satisfaction with telehealth services across on entire country. It's impractical and resources heavy to survey every patient. So what we do is we choose a sample instead. So then there are types of sampling. Uh, Types of sampling in that we can say that we have random sampling, we have stratified sampling, then we have convenience sampling. Uh, then uh, for data analysis, so data analysis is analyzing the same data and it involves measuring variables such as patient satisfaction scores and health outcomes. And we have using statistical method to test hypothesis and draw conclusion that can be generalized to entire population. Now, move to the next slide. Okay, don't have a video to watch. Right, this one, uh, we have an image of a roadmap for a literature review. So we have this diagram. Now, in this slide, we have to discuss about what is a literature review. Okay, so a literature review is a fundamental component of any research project. It's much more than a summary of existing study. It is a comprehensive and critical summary and synthesis of research that has conducted on a specific topic. And a few of the key aspects um, are um, research activity and knowledge contribution. So it's like reviewing the literature uh, is a research activity. Um, we can say that it's a research activity all in itself, and it can and a contribution to knowledge on a particular subject through the literature review. Then research activity is engaging in a literature review involves identifying, retrieving, reading, and synthesizing various sources related to the research question. And this process in itself requires methodological and systematic research skills. Then knowledge contribution. So a well-executed literature review contributes to the field by summarizing what is known, highlighting key findings, and uncovering gaps or inconsistencies in the existing literature. This can often lead to a new insight or direction for future research. Then we have um, focus on main research questions. So literature review undertaken as part of a thesis is invariably focused on the topic that relates to the main research question that have been raised and highlight the influential or and influential and conceptual or empirical studies that have been conducted in that field. Then we have relevance to research question. So the primary focus of a literature review, especially in a thesis, is to address and relate to the main research question. This makes the literature review integral to setting the context of your own research. So we have highlighting key studies. So it is important to bring attention to the influential studies and conceptual framework that have shaped the field. Example is like if your research question involves the effectiveness of telehealth, so we would review and cite key studies that have explored various aspects of telehealth efficiency. Then we have demonstration of knowledge and critical evaluation. So a literature review demonstrates knowledge about the extant literature of that field, but it is more than simply describing other authors' perspective, and it is expected to include a critical evaluation of those studies. And for knowledge demonstration, so by summarizing and discussing existing literature, we demonstrate our understanding of the field and its current state of research. Then for the critical evaluation, so it's beyond description. A literature review involves critiquing the methodologies, findings, and conclusion of the study. This critical perspective helps to identify strengths and weaknesses in the current body of knowledge. Then we have knowledge, the novel synthesis and identification of gap. So always like a good review gives a novel synthesis of existing work, which may lead to new ways of looking out um, at a subject or identifying gaps in the literature. So a literature review for novel synthesis, we can say that should provide a new perspective or a comprehensive synthesis of the existing literature. This might involve combining findings from multiple studies in a way that has not been previously done. For identifying gaps, one of the key contributions of a literature review is identifying areas where knowledge is lacking. For example, you might find that while many studies focus on patient satisfaction with telehealth, fewer studies have investigated long-term health outcomes, indicating a gap that your research could address. So, have covered this slide. Move to the next slide. Okay, so now we have to break down the literature review process. Uh, okay. Okay, so they have given us a name of Silverman. Okay, so what we need to do is we are breaking down the literature review as outlined by Silverman, focusing on various aspects that should be considered to effectively set the stage for our research. So the first we have the literature review process. So the literature review process is more than just reading and summarizing previous research. It involves identifying gaps in prior studies and placing our own investigation within a broader context. And now we will discuss um, what Silverman identifies as key components of literature review. So the first step in literature review is to summarize the current state of knowledge of your topic, and this involves like a summary, a comprehensive summary. So uh, it's the detail detail of the main findings and conclusion of existing research. For example, if investigating telehealth, uh, summarized finding on its own accessibility, patient satisfaction, and initial health outcome. Then we have the theoretical framework, and these include any major theories or models that have been used to explain the aspects um, of the topic. Mm, For example, in reviewing telehealth, you might find studies highlighting its increased usage and patient satisfaction during the COVID-19 pandemic, demonstrating how it provided vital health services during lockdown period. Then the second one is, what do you have to say critically about what is already known? So mm, critical evaluation is a core part of literature review, and you must assess the strength, weakness, and gaps in existing research. Then we have critique methodology. Uh, okay. So for that, it's to evaluate whether the method used were appropriate and reliable. Then we have to identify limitation, and we need to point out any limitation in scope, sample size, or bias. The third one, has anyone else ever done anything exactly the same as what is proposed? Okay. So you can say that it's crucial to establish whether your proposed research has been done before to ensure originality. We need to look for uh, studies that have exactly the same research question, methodology, and scope, and we need to determine if your study is replacing previous research to confirm findings. Then the fourth one is, has anyone else done anything that is related? So we need to identify research that is not exactly the same, but is related to your topic. And this helps in understanding broader implication and connection. We need to look for research in related areas which might provide additional context or insight. Then we have where does work fit in with what has gone before. Uh, so it involves position your research within the broader academic landscape. We need to explain how your study builds on, deviates from, or adds to existing research. We need to show the theoretical integration. We need to show how your research might confirm, refute, or extend existing theories or findings. Example is like your work on long-term telehealth efficacy could fill a crucial gap identified in existing literature, addressing long-term health outcomes that previous studies have neglected. Then the last one, files your research were doing in light of what has already been done. So we need to justify the importance and relevance of, yeah, of your research or of our research. So we need to explain why our study is necessary and what unique contribution it makes. Then we have to discuss potential implication for practice, policy, or further research. These all are the important aspects. Please, if you do have any question, please don't hesitate to ask. Right. In this slide, uh, we have to review uh, features and imperatives as its characteristics. Right, okay. So if we need to discuss about the characteristics of an effective literature review, uh, we have rigorous and pragmatic engagement with previous studies, and its features are a literature review must provide a rigorous yet pragmatic account of existing body of work on that topic. This involves engaging with and critiquing previous studies, balancing critically with acknowledgement of their validity and strength, and it should be imperative. So, okay. So, if we talk about the rigorous critique, so evaluate the assumption, theories, method, and conclusion of the studies we review. This means questioning the robustness of methodologies used, the reliability of the data, and the validity of conclusions drawn. We need to use the balanced perspective. So while being critical, it is equally important to recognize and appreciate the valid insight and strength these studies contribute to the field. We need to uh, be beyond descriptive summarization, and we need to build a coherent argument. Literature review should go beyond summarizing what has been written and incorporate a coherent argument or narrative thread that builds towards the research topic. We have to identify gap. We need to coherent the argument, develop a narrative that logically progress towards your research question, and this means synthesizing the reviewed literature to support the significance and direction of your study. Then uh, we have ongoing and evolving process. Okay, so uh, a literature review is not a task that is completed solely at the beginning of a research project. Instead, it's an ongoing process that evolves and is refined throughout the duration of the project. So we have continuous review. So regularly update your review to incorporate new findings and development in the field. This ensures that your research remains current and reflective of the latest knowledge. We need to do the uh, adaptive revision. and we need to be prepared to refine and adjust our initial argument and hypothesis in light of new empirical evidence or emerging trends. So the characteristics are, we can say, for the summary. Hmm. So it should be rigorous and pragmatic engagement, and critically evaluate previous studies while acknowledging their contribution, deliver a balanced review that highlights both strength and weakness, and we need to develop a coherent argument that builds towards the research question, identify gaps in literature, and create a narrative that justifies the significance of our investigation. We need to keep the literature review dynamic and evolving throughout the duration of our research project, regularly update it with new findings, and be open to refining our argument and hypothesis. Then critically assess the methodologies of current telehealth studies. For example, we need to note that while many surveys report high patient satisfaction, the sample sizes are sometimes small and may not capture diverse population. So that has the rigorous engagement in the element of it. Then we have coherent argument. So we can say that synthesize these findings to argue that while many short-term studies exist, they don't address the gap related to long-term health outcomes. So this builds the case for your research focusing on chronic disease management over an extended period. Then we have to do the ongoing review. So as you gather your data, so we need to continuously scan for new telehealth studies, integrate fresh insight, and adjust our research direction as needed. For instance, if a new study introduces a novel metric for assessing patient outcome, consider incorporating this into our project or your project which you are doing. Now, move to the next slide. Okay, in that we need to create a sample of data from finding. Okay, so data sampling is a crucial technique in statistical analysis, and allowing researchers to work with a manageable subset of data to identify pattern and trend without the need to analyze the entire data set. So we'll discuss the process of data sampling and its advantages, challenges, and some practical considerations. So data sampling is a statistical analysis technique used to select, manipulate, and analyze a representative subset of data points. This subset helps to identify pattern and trends in larger data set being examined. So what is the purpose? Data sampling enables researchers, data scientists, and analysts to work with a more manageable amount of data from a statistical population. It allows for building and running analytical models more quickly while still producing accurate findings. Advantages are efficiency, we can say, and sampling is particularly useful for large data sets that are too cumbersome um, to analyze in full. For example, in back, say In big data analytics or extensive surveys, sampling reduces the complexity and resource needed for data processing. It's cost effective. Um, Analyzing a representative sample is more cost effective than working with the entire population. This is especially important when resources like time, money, computing power are limited. We have sampling allows for faster results, which can be beneficial when timely decisions are required. There are now we have to discuss about the few challenges. Mm, okay, so uh, if we say about the um challenges of data sampling, so then we have sampling error, and there is always a risk of sampling error where the sample does not accurately represent the whole population. This can lead to a based result and incorrect conclusion. Sample size. So determining the right size for the sample is critical. A sample that is too small may miss significant trend, while a large sample might almost mimic the same complexity of full data set. So reducing the benefit of sampling. We need to ensure that the sample is representative of the entire population can be challenging, particularly if the population is highly diverse or the data points have significant variation. For example, in telehealth study, if you only sample urban patients, so your finding may not apply to rural population. So hence, searching the result, balancing representativeness while dealing with logistical constraint is vital. Then the types of data sampling. So we have uh, okay. So in types of data sampling, so it's simple random sampling. It has every data point has an equal chance of being selected. It's the most straightforward, uh, but this method, but may not always guarantee a representative sample in diverse population. Uh, then we have stratified sampling, and this is the population is divided into subgroups and is based on shared characteristic like age, gender, socioeconomic status, and samples are then taken from each subgroup. Then we have systematic sampling. It's selecting every data point from the population that ensures a uniform coverage, but might introduce pattern not originally present in the data. Then we have cluster sampling. So the population is divided into clusters, example by regions or institution, and entire clusters are randomly selected for analysis. And this is useful when population are naturally grouped, but might introduce cluster-specific biases. Then we have convenience sampling. So sampling individuals that are easily accessible through this method risks significant biases and lack of generalizability. So the next bit is practical consideration for data sampling. So sample size determination. It's like we need to use statistical formulas to determine an appropriate sample size that balances accuracy with manageability, and the sample size largely depend on the population size, desired confidence level, and margin of error. Uh, I'll give you an example. So, for example, we were discussing about telehealth. So, in your telehealth study, if the population is, let's suppose, uh, we can say that, for example, if we have the population of 10,000 and you need a 95% confidence level with a 5% margin of error, so we might calculate a sample size of around 370. So that would be sufficient. Then we need to mitigate sampling errors. To reduce sampling error, we need to ensure our sample is as random and representative as possible. And we need to use stratified sampling if the population has distinct subgroups. We need to validate the representativeness of our research by comparing it to characteristic of entire data set. We need to adjust sampling technique if significant discrepancies are identified. We need to strike a balance between the size of the sample and the feasibility of data manipulation and analysis. While a larger sample improves accuracy, it may also increase complexity and resource requirement. Uh, then, okay, so we have mm, with this one, we can say that we have discussed about the data sample and sampling error. We have given example in big analysis application of surveys, and okay, so for example, if we have to create a sample of data, so an example could be like in the context of telehealth study again. So we need to define the population. All, for example, we can say that all patients who use telehealth services during the past year. Example, we are taking 10,000 service user, or the patient. Then we need to determine the sample size. We need to use a statistical tool to calculate an appropriate sample size. Assume a desired confidence level of 95% and a margin of error of 5%. This gives a sample size of around 370 patients. We need to choose a sampling method. We need to utilize stratified sampling to ensure diverse representation. We will divide the population into strata based on age group. For example, 18 to 35, 36 to 50, 51 to 65, or 66 plus, and sample each stratum proportionally to its size in the total population. Then we have to conduct random sampling with strata, and we need to randomly select the calculated number of patients from each age group to or each group to form a representative sample. Then we have to compare the sample characteristic, example, gender distribution, geographical location to the overall population, and we can adjust if significant discrepancies are found. So these all are the important aspects. Then we have here types of data sampling method. So mm, we have probability sampling. Okay. So data sampling methods are crucial in statistical analysis to ensure that the subset of data chosen for analysis truly represent the larger population. Different sampling methods are used depending on the type of data set and the research objective. So we have probability-based sampling method. So probability-based sampling involves using random numbers to select data point, ensuring that each point has an equal chance of being chosen for the sample. This method helps in reducing bias and ensuring the sample represent the population accurately. Then that is the first aspect. So we have some variation in probability sampling. We have simple random sampling. Okay, so if we discuss about the simple random sampling, so each data point in the population has an equal chance of being selected. This is a straightforward and commonly used method, ensuring a truly random sample. Then we have stratified sampling. So the population is divided into subgroups or strata based on certain characteristics. Example, age, gender, income. Samples are then randomly taken from each stratum, and this method ensures each subgroup is represented in the sample, which can be helpful for capturing diversity in the population. Then we have cluster sampling. So the population is divided into clusters or group, and a random sample of entire cluster is selected for analysis. This method is useful when individual data points um, within clusters share similarities. It can be more cost effective than other methods, especially if the clusters are geographically or structurally defined. Then we have multi-stage sampling. So it's a combination of different sampling methods where sampling occurs in stages. For example, selecting clusters in the first stage, then sampling individual within those clusters in subsequent stages, we can say. And this method is especially useful for large and diverse population. Then we have systematic sampling. So in systematic sampling, every item that is selected from the population list after a random start, it provides a structured way of selecting samples while maintaining randomness. But however, it also runs the risk of introducing biases if there is a pattern in the data that correspond to a selected we can say that to the section interval. Then we have some known probability-based sampling methods as well. So while probability-based sampling method ensure randomness and reduce bias, known probability sampling method include techniques like convenience sampling, judgment sampling, and quota sampling. These methods are less rigid in their sampling approach, and they may introduce more bias into the sample. Next slide. Um, this one. Going to discuss about known probability. Uh, okay, so known probability sampling is an alternative approach to data sampling, where the selection of data points is based on the judgment of the analyst rather than random selection. And this method uh, contrasts with probability sampling and potentially making it more challenging to ensure that the sample accurately represent the larger population. So there are some characteristics of uh, known probability sampling. It's judgment-based inclusion. So in known probability sampling, data points are selected based on the analyst's judgment, expertise, or convenience rather than through randomization. So we need to be sure. Then we have subjectivity in selection. So the researchers or analyst has more control over which data points are included in the sample, leading to a subjective element in the selection process. We have difficulty in generalization. Because the sample is not randomly selected, it can be more challenging to extrapolate or generalize the findings to the larger population. Then we have some key consideration for known probability sampling, like convenience sampling, uh, or we may have judgment sampling, we have quota sampling, and there are some challenges as well. So, like limited representativeness, sampling bias, and difficulty in interference. And example we can use as telehealth study using known probability sampling. So, in a study evaluating patient attitudes towards telehealth services, a researcher might opt for convenience sampling by selecting patients based on their availability and willingness to participate. While this approach might provide insight from a practical standpoint, the finding may not be representative of the broader population of telehealth users. Move to the next slide. Okay, so here we need to discuss about uh, the methods and predictive analytics. Okay, so uh, known probability data sampling methods offer various techniques for selecting data points based on judgment, convenience, or predefined criteria. So these methods provide flexibility in data collection, especially in scenarios where random selection is impractical or where specific criteria need to be met. So once a sample is generated, using known probability sampling, it can be utilized for predictive analytics to uncover patterns and insight that inform business studies, business like strategies such as sale tactics in the retail industry. So now we'll discuss about some of the methods. Uh, the first one is convenience sampling. Okay, so in convenience sampling, data is collected from an easily accessible and available group. Uh, like it's often used in situations where researchers choose the most accessible subjects, making it a convenient but less representative sampling method. Then we have consecutive sampling. Okay. Uh, okay. So in that, data is collected from every subject that meets the criteria until the predetermined sample size is achieved. Um, Sometimes it's useful when time and resources are limited, ensuring all qualifying subjects are included in the sample. Then we have purposive or judgmental sampling. Uh, so we can say that researchers use their judgment to select data point that best represent a specific characteristic or qualities of interest. Then we have quota sampling. So its application, you can say that it's useful for ensuring each subgroup within a population is proportionally represented in the sample. Then we have quota sampling, predictive analysis. Okay, so we have predictive analytics and known probability sampling. So if we discuss about predictive analytics, so it's like is a data and is a data analysis technique that use data statistical algorithms and machine learning techniques to predict future events based on historical data. Uh, Example is a retail business might utilize data sampling and predictive data analytics to analyze customer behavior patterns and preferences by examining data collecting through known probability sampling methods such as convenience sampling or judgmental sampling. The retail business can uncover trends, preferences, and behavior of its customers. So, if we discuss the usage in retail, so predictive modeling can help the retail business develop more effective sales strategies, personalized marketing campaign, optimize product recommendation, and forecast customer demand by leveraging predictive analytics on sample data. The retail business can make data-driven decisions to enhance customer experience and drive sales. Okay. So these all are the important aspects related to the example provided. Now we move to the next slide. I'm sorry, students, I'm taking it too long for this learning outcome because it has many slides and I thought that is very important. So I'm trying my best to explain every aspect of it. Please don't mind. Um, with this one, we have apply suitable data analysis method for data collected. We have what is data analysis? Okay, right. So data analysis, basically, we can say that is a critical process in research and decision making involving the collection, modeling, and examination of data to drive insight that inform strategic action. Various method and technique exist for data analysis, each catering to different industries and research objectives. Broadly, data analysis can be categorized into two core areas: quantitative research and qualitative research. Mm, Okay, we have discussed the quantitative and qualitative research in detail earlier. So, seeing that here's a video for your viewing pleasure. I think the link is missing. No problem. So, why is data analysis important? Okay. Uh, so, why it is important? So, we can say that data analysis places a crucial role in decision-making process, offering valuable insight derived from data to inform strategic action and improve business outcomes. Uh, Informed decision making. Okay. So now we have informed decision making. So it's like by analyzing data, organization can make decision based on concrete evidence and factual insight rather than intuition or guesswork. Uh, right. Uh, for example, identifying where to invest capital, predicting revenues, and detecting growth opportunities and addressing potential issues before they escalate are key benefits of data-driven decision making. We have the benefit of cost reduction. Okay. So data analysis enable business to identify cost-saving opportunities and optimize operation to reduce example. Uh, and we have improved efficiency and effectiveness. So data analysis help businesses streamline processes, identify bottlenecks, and enhance overall efficiency across operations. Then example is like by analyzing data on customer behavior, businesses can tailor their marketing campaign, improve customer service, and drive customer satisfaction level. We have uh, like data analysis uncovers trend, pattern, and correlation in data that may not be apparent through manual analysis. And we have data analysis assist in identifying and mitigating risk early by predicting potential issues and planning strategies to address them. So these all are the important aspects, and that's why data analysis is important. Now we move to the next slide. So in the next slide, we have target customer better. So for this one, understanding effectively targeting customer is a paramount for business aiming for sustainable growth and success. Utilizing data analytics to gain a comprehensive view of customer behavior, preference, and characteristics can greatly enhance marketing strategies and overall business performance. So, why leveraging analytics is crucial in customer targeting? So, we have comprehensive customer insight. We have we have customer demographics. So they are telling us about a 360-degree vision. Okay. So when we talk about the customer demographics, so analytics provide valuable insight into customer demographics such as age, gender, location, and income level, enabling business to tailor their offerings to specific customer segments. Mm. Uh, then they are talking about the long run. Okay, so we'll discuss briefly about these. So we have some behavior patterns. So by analyzing customer behavior, businesses can identify purchasing habits, preferences. They might see the browsing history and interaction within the interaction with the brand to create personalized and targeted marketing campaign. Uh, we have some refined marketing strategies. So we have some personalized marketing, tailoring marketing messages, promotion, and product recommendation based on customer data leads to more relevant and engaging interaction, driving customer loyalty and retention. We can uh, we can have market expansion. By analyzing customer data, businesses can identify emerging trend, untapped markets, and areas for growth, facilitating strategic decision making and market expansion opportunities as well. So these all are the important aspects. Mm, Next slide. So this one is, what is the data analysis process? Okay, so uh, we have to discuss about the 5 key stages. Mm, Right. So first one is the identify. Okay. So when we say about identification, so the purpose is before driving into data analysis, it's crucial to identify the objective and reason for conducting the uh, analysis, and we need to understand why data is needed and what questions needed to be answered. Then we have the second one is collect. So, okay. So when we talk about collect, so we have source selection. We need to decide on the sources of data that will be used in the analysis, be it internal database, um, external uh, external repositories, and we may have surveys, interviews, questionnaires, or other data collection method. Then we have data gathering as well in it. So collect the data, necessary data, and ensure it is relevant, accurate, and complete for analysis. And data collection can take various forms and may involve acquiring data from various sources. Then we have clean. So data cleaning. Okay. So after collecting the data, the next step is to clean and pre-process the data. This involves filtering out irrelevant or duplicate data, handling missing values, correcting errors, and formatting the data for analysis. Then we have data preparation. So data preparation has uh, data cleaning, ensures that data is accurate, consistent, and conducive to effective analysis. That is all with the aspect of clean. Then we have analyze. Okay, so analytical techniques, we need to utilize various data analysis techniques such as statistical analysis, regression analysis, machine learning algorithms, text analysis, and data visualization tool to explore and analyze the data. Um, we have insight extraction as well. So we need to extract insight, trend, relationship, uh, correlation, and patterns from the data to drive meaningful conclusion that addresses the initial questions and objective identified in the first stage. Then we have interpret. Okay, so for that one, we have insight interpretation. The final stage involves interpreting the result derived from analysis to drive actionable insight and recommendation. We have decision making as well. So based on the findings, formulate strategies, make informed decision, and develop courses of action that are supported by the data-driven insight. So we have to identify, uh, define the purpose, objective, and key question for analysis. Then we have to do the collection. We need to gather relevant data from various sources using appropriate methods. Then for clean, we have pre-process and clean the data to ensure accuracy and consistency. Then we have the step of analyze. So apply data analysis technique to extract insight and identify patterns. The last one was interpret, and it was interpret the result, draw conclusion, and make informed decision based on the insight derived from the analysis. Right. So in this slide, we have present data and information from finding to produce results. Okay. So, okay. So presenting data and findings in a clear and visual manner is essential for effective communication and decision making. And the choice of presentation format depend on the type of data collected and the key messages to be conveyed. So we have to discuss some appropriate ways of information, of presenting information on different types of data. Okay, we have bar chart, pie charts, and other examples. Okay, so the first one is the bar chart. So, okay, so these are useful for comparing relative sizes, showing categorical data, and visualizing comparison between different groups or categories. Uh, we need to have some considerations as well. While bar charts are effective in highlighting differences in values, they can be ink intensive and may not be suitable for displaying detailed information. Then we have the pie charts. Okay, so pie charts are ideal for representing parts of a whole, illustrating percentages and showing the contribution of individual components to the total. Then few of the consideration are while pie charts demonstrate the proportionate distribution of data and the total sums to 100%. They can be challenging for readers to compare slices when the differences are subtle. Then we have line charts. For other examples, data and graph include charts and scatter plots. Okay. So for example, we have other examples like line chart. So its usage is like it's effective for displaying trends over time, highlighting changes and visualizing continuous data points. And few of the considerations are line charts are excellent for showcasing patterns and trend in data, especially when analyzing sequential or time-based information. Then we have scatter plots. Okay. So scatter plots are useful for displaying relationship between two variables and identifying correlation and visualizing pattern in data points. And scatter plots are valuable for illustrating the relationship between two numerical variables and identifying any trends or uh, outliers in the data. So these all are important points related with the slide 17. Then we have, okay, the qualitative data. So qualitative qualitative data, which is descriptive and non-numeric in nature, it's often best communicated through textual representation. Some effective ways to present qualitative data in the form are use of quotation. We can use mm, using quotation from interviews or field or diaries. Okay. So we can use direct quotes, like incorporate direct quotes from interviews, focus group, or observations to provide authentic voices and perspective of the participant. We have contextualization. So it is like introduce and contextualize the quotes to explain their relevance and connection to the research topic. We have descriptive narratives. So it has storytelling and we have field diaries and reflection as well. Uh, so it has, like, we can say that it include reflection, field notes, and personal experiences from researchers to provide insight into the data collection process and interpreting of findings. Then we have uh, contextual background. So for that, use field diaries to provide background information, context, and situational details related to the qualitative data. These all are the important aspect, I believe. Let me move to the next slide. So this one is draw conclusion and recommendation from research findings. Okay, so we have important. Okay, so we need to break this topic into understandable parts with relevant example to enhance our understanding. For that, we can say that understanding results. So results in research refer to the process finding derived from the data collected. These results are the outcome of your analysis and efforts to comprehend the research topic. For instance, if you conducted a survey on customer satisfaction and the results show that 80% of participation were highly satisfied with the product, this data would constitute your research result. And okay, then we have to interpret the result. So while some research may be descriptive, merely presenting the results is often crucial to interpret these findings. This involves explaining the significance of the result and what they imply. For example, if your study on impact of exercise on mental health shows a correlation between increased physical activity and reduced stress level, so interpreting these results would involve discussing the potential reason behind this connection. Then uh, we have to draw some conclusion. So drawing conclusion requires reflecting on the result, comparing them with existing studies and aligning them with the research objective. It involves synthesizing the findings to drive meaningful insight. Continuing the previous example, we can say that drawing conclusion could involve stating that regular exercise presents a viable strategy for stress reduction and overall mental well-being based on research finding. We can make some recommendation. So we can say that recommendations stem from the conclusion drawn from the research finding. They provide actionable suggestion for future application or improvements in studied area. And by expanding on exercise, we can say that expanding on the exercise and mental health study, recommendation could include promoting physical activity programs in workplaces to enhance employee well-being or integrating exercise routine into mental health treatment plans. So I believe these are the important aspects. Now with this slide, we have uh, we have to understand reliability and validity. So first we have reliability. So reliability refers to the consistency and stability of a measure. In other words, it assesses whether the same result would be obtained if the measurement were repeated under the same condition. A reliable measure produces consistent and reproducible results. Then we have the validity. Uh, So validity, on the other hand, focuses on the accuracy and truthfulness of a measure. It asks whether the measure is actually capturing what it intends to measure. A valid measure accurately reflects the concept or construct being studied. So we have the importance of reliability and validity. So we have uh, mm, and validity when you are creating your research design plan, your method and writing up your result, especially in quantitative research. So okay, so we'll discuss some of the benefits. So what it does, it's ensure the quality, and we can avoid errors, we can enhance the credibility, and if we discuss it in the context of research, So in quantitative research, it is crucial to consider reliability and validity during the design phase to ensure that the measurement tools are appropriate and trustworthy. And the researchers need to plan method carefully, use standardized instrument, and conduct pilot testing to establish reliability and validity before collecting the data. So these all are the important aspects. Now here we have to discuss about what is reliability. So, reliability refers to the consistency and stability of measures in research. If a method consistently produces the same result when applied under the same condition, it is considered reliable. And we have to discuss about some examples. So, the first one is measure the temperature of a liquid sample. Okay. So here we can say that you are measuring the temperature of a liquid sample multiple times under identical condition using the same thermometer. So each time you conduct the measurement, the thermometer shows the exact same temperature reading. So in this scenario, the measurement is considered reliable because it is consistent and yields the same result under the same circumstances. Then we have the second example is related to the doctor uses a symptom questionnaire. Okay, so we need to imagine a doctor is using symptom questionnaire to diagnose a patient with a long-term medical condition. So multiple doctors are asked to use the same questionnaire with the same patient to make a diagnosis. However, each doctor provides a different diagnosis based on the questionnaire responses. So this inconsistency among the diagnosis indicates that the questionnaire has low reliability as a measure of the specific medical condition. So in this case, the measure is not producing consistent results when applied repeatedly under the same condition, highlighting its unreliability. So we can say that reliability in research ensures that the method or measures can be trusted to produce consistent and dependable result over time. It is essential for establishing the credibility and validity of research finding by reducing variability and random error that may arise during the data collection process. Move to the next slide. Okay. So here we have to discuss about validity. So validity in research refers to how accurately a method measures what is the intended to measure, and a measure is considered valid if it produces results that align with the real property, characteristics, or variation in the physical or social world under study. So there are few concepts of validity. Uh, we have we have some examples as well. Right. So we have a thermometer example. Okay. So we need to consider a scenario where you are using a thermometer to measure the temperature of a liquid sample. Despite maintaining controlled condition to ensure the sample temperature remain constant, the thermometer displays a different temperature each time you measure. So in this case, the inconsistency is in the thermometer reading suggests a malfunction and rendering its measurement invalid. The thermometer fails to accurately measure the temperature as intended, highlighting a lack of validity in its measurement. Then we have symptom questionnaire. Okay. So we need to imagine a symptom questionnaire designed to diagnose a specific medical condition. So this questionnaire consistently yields the same diagnosis when answered at different times and by different doctors. So the uniformity in the diagnosis obtained indicates the questionnaire is reliable in producing consistent results across various scenarios. This consistency is in various measurement demonstrate that high validity of the questionnaire as an effective tool for diagnosing the medical condition. So valid measures should be both reliable and accurate in capturing the intended concept or construct being measured. So overall, understanding validity is crucial in research as it ensures that the measurement tool and method used accurately capture the phenomena of interest. So validity strengthens the credibility and trustworthiness of research finding by ensuring that the results truly reflect the properties or characteristics being studied. So researchers strive to establish validity to enhance the accuracy and relevance of their conclusion and insights derived from the data collected. The slide. Okay, so for this one, we need to discuss the types of validity. To discuss about the three main types of uh, evidence. Okay. Uh, and, uh, we have construct, convenient, and criterion. Okay. Uh, right. So we will discuss about that. So we have content validity. Uh, okay. So content validity is content validity pertains to the extent to which a measurement tool adequately covers the content domain it is supposed to measure. So it involves evaluating whether the item included in the measurement instrument represent the full range of the concept being studied. And content validity can be assessed through expert judgment where subject matter um, experts review the items to ensure they are relevant and comprehensive. And statistical methods such as factors analysis can also be utilized to analyze the structure of the measurement tool. The second one we will discuss is uh, okay, criterion validity. So for that one, criterion validity enables how well a measurement tool correlates with a criteria or an external standard that is considered a gold standard for the concept being measured. It assesses whether the measurement is an accurate predictor of the desired outcome. Then uh, criterion validity can be established by comparing the result of the measurement tool with an already established valid criterion, and statistical technique like correlation analysis can be used to determine the strength of the relationship between the measurement tool and the criteria. Then we have construct validity. So uh, construct validity focuses on whether a measurement tool assesses the theoretical concept or construct it claims to measure. It examines the degree to which the measurement aligns with the theoretical expectation in terms of relationship with other variables. So construct validity can be evaluated through various methods, including factor analysis, convergent and divergent validity testing, and hypothesis testing. These approaches help researchers determine if the measurement tool is truly capturing the intended construct. So I believe these all are the important aspects. Then we have types of reliability. Okay, so
ATHE.
some types of some types of reliability.
Then is where are people that are coming to it? Where are people that are coming to it?
I'm sorry, I'm going to finish it. And for this one, we have types of liability. And so uh, we need to discuss about some key types of liability. So we have here, they have discussed three of them. So, okay, first we'll discuss about retest reliability. And retest reliability assesses the consistency of a measurement tool by administering the same test or questionnaire to the same group of participants on two different occasions. So the correlation between the result of the two administration indicates the stability of the measurement over time. This type of reliability is useful when the attribute being measured is expected to remain stable over time, such as personality traits or intelligence. Then we have inter-rater reliability. So inter-rater reliability focuses on the consistency of measurement when different traits or observers assess the same phenomena, and it examines the agreement between multiple raters in their interpretation or judgment. Uh, in yeah, inter-rater reliability, like it is crucial in fields where subjective assessment are common, such as in qualitative research, observational studies, or clinical evaluation. Then we have uh, parallel forms of liability. So parallel forms liability involves comparing two different versions of measurement tool that are designed to assess same construct. The correlation between the result obtained from two versions indicates the degree to which the forms are equivalent. And this type of liability is valuable when researchers want to um, avoid practice effects, or when using multiple versions of a test to minimize biases. Then we have internal consistency reliability. Okay, so internal consistency reliability assesses the extent to which the item with a measurement tool are interrelated and measures the same underlying construct. And common measures of internal consistency include Grobench alpha and split half reliability. So this type of liability is important when using multi-item scales or questionnaires to ensure that all items are measuring the intended construct consistently. So by considering and evaluating these different types of liability, researchers can determine the extent to which their measurement instruments are dependable and produce consistent results. And it establish liability, and it is essential for ensuring the accuracy and trustworthiness of researcher finding across various disciplines and study designs. Okay, here we have an image. So reliability and validity in a thesis. So we have literature review, methodology, result discussion, and conclusion. So we need to include these sections: literature review, methodology, result discussion, and conclusion. So we have gone through all of them in detail in the previous slides. Right. And slide, in this slide, students, you need to read the article on the mural, and there's an article on the mural, and that is why do a literature review in health and social care. So, okay, so when you log into the Moodle, you need to go through with the article. Make sure you all read that article. So now this is the end. So this is the reference slide. Okay, so I know it's a difficult topic, but like I've tried my best to cover all aspects of it, and few like important aspects are like the selection of appropriate data collection method, and is crucial for ensuring accuracy, reliability, and relevance of data gathered. And uh, we need to we need to explore further examples and engage with the material and consider how different data collection method can be tailored to suit various research scenarios. And overall, for today, I can say that I'm thankful to all of you because I took a lot of time today. So please don't mind. So hopefully, I'll catch up with you all in tomorrow's class.
Quick one, when is the assignment due for this unit? Because I know it's really cumbersome.
We haven't completed all the 4 learning outcomes. So in the next class, we will discuss about the 4th learning outcome, and then we have the assignment discussion class, and after that, I believe you have 2 weeks. So we have about 3 weeks time, I believe.
Okay.
Because after the assignment discussion class, then the students are expected to start working on their assignment. So as we are on learning outcome 3 today, we will discuss the learning outcome 4 tomorrow, and next week we will discuss the uh, assignment discussion, and then you can start working on it. After that, you have, I believe, 2 weeks of time.
Okay, thank you very much. Because I really wanted to know, because Unit-5 is all about research, in depth,
It is.
like
Yes, and it is like a long um, a long work. Like first we need to find the objective, the question, the hypothesis. It has a lot of things to do. So
Yes,
it's
yes,
better like we prepare ourselves, and I appreciate you for that. And we have different things as well. We have Pico, we have Prisma approach, we have different approaches which I cannot cover everything in the class. But
yes.
if you do have any questions, then you can ask. I'll try my best to answer as well.
All right, I'll do that just that. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thanks to you for being patient and listening to me.
You're welcome.
Take care. See you
And you
tomorrow.
take care. Bye.
Bye. Bye.